Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Who am I but I'm Dre Mac? Came into the game just to spit facts. Into the space that I'm in. They call me Bobby Drake cause I'm cold with the pen. I find no diamonds but I still shine. You can dig me cause my boy's mine. My tracks flame like a dilute. I want to blood on my tongue. Thinking this is warm glue. I'ma throw with a gas leak. Camouflage in the mist but you smell me. One spark and I bet you I'ma blow up. Just throw my name around, get stupid, then you go dumb. No rest for the weary. My verse is thinking in his man but you can't see me. You rather drink than go pull up. I'm drinking knife through the game, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. I came to eat out the a la carte. Got stripped of a bear, call me brainstorm. Then I come together like a Voltron. Then I poured all the plaques, you Decepticons. Fake rappers to retreats like Cobra. 80s looking floating like up in the storage and I'm E-Man. Up, down, then I'm cheap. You a beast, man. I take a beating. Ninja Turtle rap, turtle clans get defeated. Hot in my ride, you can call me Night Rider. You can never stop me, cause I'm a guy bomb. Bad attitude like a rocket, my whole to the A, and I bet you can stop us. LL bad, when I go and show up, you can hear the haters in the back. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie.
This is a test. This station is conducting a test of the emergency broadcasting system. This is only a test.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit. Taste the honey sauce. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the honey sauce. Don't get that honey sauce on me. I don't like the way it tastes with my chicken wings.
We return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
What's up? Excuse me. What is going on? Oh, golly, what is going on, everybody? This your man. Oh, Chocolate. This your man Dre back up to you again with another episode of The Dre Max Show. 7:30 in the morning, Central Time, 8:30 on the East Coast. You're from the West Coast right now. Go ahead and get up, because you already know that the early bird gets the worm. And on today, we are actually going to go over the sale of Warner Brothers again. And we're going to go into James Gunn's interview. I think he went to New Rock Stars too. I know he went to Emergency Awesome. I don't know if they was on a big group chat or a big Zoom call. I don't know. But I did see it on Emergency Awesome. So I want to hear what he has to say. See if it aligns with what's his name? Be saying what the lady Danny was saying the other day. We just gonna get into it. we gonna get into it. Because I have it again. I tell you, I get stuff. I don't watch it. I do it live. My reaction completely live, so you guys can see what's going on. I can, I can look at it for myself. You know what I mean? So, and look at it in real time for myself. How it would naturally react. So, yeah. So, hope you guys are happy. Hope you guys are healthy. Shout out to my man Heavy Gant over at the Heavy Gant Reaction. But you already know what I do. Real question is,
Say why you hating on my energy? Say why you hating on my energy? I don't think you wanna be my enemy.
all right. Let's get into who's in the house today. Robin D, the admin. Good morning. Good morning. And don't forget to smash that like button up in this mug, like you be smashing those biscuits. Dirt, what's going on? I'll take a look at it. Damon Manilli, good morning. Molly Moore, good morning. Q is not a robot. Good morning. You know what's funny, Molly Moore? Man, don't let her whoop you in the name of Jesus. All I'm saying. Michael Johnson, good morning. Johnny Rastafari, good morning. Andre Ware, good morning. Yes, Buttermilk Biscuit Day. Erica D, aka She Loves Fantasy. What's up? Look, come on back. You know what to do. Bruce Roberta, the Charadon C. She said she'll see you at 3:00. Probably BTA. If you know what that stands for, I ain't gotta say nothing else. My man Sheed, Mr. Double Time. What's up with it? That's my guy right there. Let me see. DeAndre Mosley, good morning. But hell, I thought I was choking to death earlier. Couldn't get my words out. Let me see. Torium Rain Reloaded, my guy. What's up? Good morning. Let me see. Junior Network, what's up? You say you want Universal to get Warner Brothers. I'm trying to tell you who really wants to buy Warner Brothers. Who's pushing to get Warner Brothers. The Ellisons is really pushing it to get Warner Brothers and to get Discovery. Again, they're pushing this whole administrative agenda because they feel like there's not, this is what they feel. The political landscape leans too far to the left in their media. So they're trying to get control of the media. That's why Paramount went up for CBS Paramount went up for sale. So again, why do I have a fear about that? Because of how Donald Trump went after talk show hosts like Patty. You got the world to run. You go after Jimmy Kimmel, you know what I'm saying, and other people, John Oliver and all these other. You see what I mean? Because they trying to control the narrative. And again, that's infringing on free speech. And it's against FCC regulations for the government to intervene in any type of buyout of any type of major conglomerate when it comes to the news and all of that. What up, Sharita Biscuit? Honey Biscuit. Yeah, what's up? If I'm Reese's, you Honey Biscuit. With the jelly. What up? See the tutorials? The tutorials be working. I tell you how to put the honey, put the butter, biscuit, butter, jelly, honey. I'm telling you. You might have high blood pressure and diabetes afterward. Man, it's gonna be one tasty biscuit. Oh man. All right. So of course we gotta, shout out all of the wonderful crew members. You guys, like I said, have been amazing. You guys have been awesome. The donations, the super chats, all of that. Like, I put this on everything. I even just appreciate you guys. Like, seriously, I really appreciate it. It literally helps. Now, I'm not going and saying you need to put 1,000 on 1,000. And if you come up here with my money short, we got a problem. In the name of Jesus. All right, let me shout out these beautiful crew members. You know who you are. Let's go. Hold up. Wait a minute. Wait. Whoa. Stop everything you're doing. Go and hit that like button. I know this is probably your first time watching and you probably enjoying everything. Stop fucking on the channel and go and hit that subscribe button so you never miss one of my videos or one of my morning live streams. And for only $2.99 a month, you know you can be a part of the crew. And shout out to all my crew members that been holding it down for Dre Mack and the crew since the beginning. All right, back to your regularly scheduled program, now in service. Go. Bye. All right. And of course, if you want to be a member, all you got to do is hit that join button. When you go to the main page of mine on YouTube, I almost forgot what to say. Oh my God. Krisha Key. What's up? Tina, aka Mintygasm. What's up? I just had to do this because I know some people might freak out because we have a Commanders versus Chiefs game coming up, but I got to do this. I have to represent my boy Sean Taylor out of the U. Unfortunately, Sean Taylor passed away in 2007. I still represent his jersey, his journey. I was a huge fan of Sean Taylor, and still represent him to this day. So I had to throw before people start freaking out and like, oh, you want to wear the Washington gear before the Chiefs game? I'm representing Sean Taylor. That, like, RIP to Sean. I watched his career when he was in Miami, then getting drafted to Washington, being a young man who went through a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And became just a good human being. Man, still hurts to this day. So I'm representing today for my man Sean Taylor. Robert D being, out of the DMV, says hump day. I ain't gonna lie, I'm tired. I am tired. Kendall Jordan, what's up? The informant media, what's up? Man, my man would knock your whole entire shoes off if he hits you. I still remember, man took out the punter in the Pro Bowl. Like, God, dog. You know what I mean? But yeah, Sean Taylor, I still RIP to Sean Taylor, still represent him. Wanted to throw on this jersey before Monday Night Football. That's all I'm saying. I wanted to throw it on now so I can go back to our regularly scheduled program. You know what I mean? When it comes to these Chiefs, you already know. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's my guy, man. RIP. All right, let's transition over. Because first, hold up. I just thought about this. Now, I do want to preface. Hold on. I want to preface this. Okay, so I don't know if I want to do new rock stars or do emergency also. I don't know. I think I want to. No, I ain't got time to do both. I do not have the time to do both. But I think he did a huge panel, and I'm kind of curious. What I'm gonna do emergency awesome because it was just him. So I'm gonna do emergency awesome. But I'm also I'm going to read from NBC News. And Derp, I see what you was talking about. I you know what I mean? I looked at it, and it is under the Batman the animated series. All of that's under the DC Studios brand. So for anybody buying it, you're going to get right now a successful company. A successful studio so far financially with DC Studios now, and HBO. So that's why I said I'm having a hard time believing. Now, I could be sold a bag of grapes and somebody, I don't know. We don't know. But I want to get, again, I'm just going off of the information that is available, the facts that is available. Listen to James Gunn, hearing what he has to say, all of that, giving my input, but I'm not going off of, oh, I believe, or, I get it. People do have sources, but I'm not leaning so far into the sources like that. I want to know what the trades, like NBC News, what are they talking about when it comes to this? Oh my God. When it comes to this buyout, I don't know what the heck is going on with my airdrop right now. God, just drop it like it's hot. You know what? Because this mug is acting a complete, utter foolery right now. Give me just a second, because this is making me mad. Yeah, I still can, still pull it up. All right. Let's get to all of this. But of course, we got to stop for a biscuit break, man. We got to. We ain't getting we gonna have a hard time, and we ain't getting no biscuits in here, man. So I'll be right back with more of the Dre Max Show.
We'll be right back. It's just your mama's raisin butter biscuits. That's all it is.
Not my mama biscuits.
What they do?
Take a love to a biscuit, man.
What they do?
Okay, so what happened is one time Randy Beeman went on a trip with his dad, and they picked up a lady who wanted to ride home, and this was in Kansas. And she sat in the back seat, and when they got where she wanted to go, they turned around and she was gone. And Randy Beeman's dad talked to the man who lived there and told him what the lady looked like. And the man said, "Oh, that's my wife, but she died 4 years ago." Spooky, huh? Okay, bye.
What they do?
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit.
What they do?
Good idea. Visiting the circus. Bad idea. Having the circus visit you.
We now return to the Transformers.
All right. What is up, Mika G? Make sure that y'all hitting up Cinematic Nightmares. And she was on Popcorn and Your Beer last night. So make sure you guys check her out. Dane C, what's up? Let me see. Did I miss somebody? Michael Johnson, did I get you? I think I got you already. All right, let's transition over, and let's actually break down. Let's go over everything, and let's see what's going on. Like I said, I'm not gonna say, this is this, that is that, that's the other, because I don't know. But what I do know is that there is information out there about the sale, and James Gunn, on the day of they announced the sale, he goes up and starts talking to YouTubers. Why he didn't hit a brother up, I don't know, but it's all good. You know what I'm saying? Jimmy Gunn, Jimmy G, I got you. Trust me. All right, let's get to. All right, Warner Brothers Discovery puts itself up for sale. The company previously said it would split in two. I think that is important. All right, it said Warner Brothers, the owner of HBO, CNN. Okay, this right here. Up. Sorry. This right here is why I have a problem with who's trying to buy it. the Ellises buy it, if the Ellises buy it, they're going to turn CNN to they're gonna fire people and turn them to a right wing news station. That's the problem that I was trying to tell everybody. Y'all over here, I like I said, I ain't got no problem, with if you like James Gunn or not, I don't care. You not liking James Gunn does not affect my rent. It's all like, oh snap, another person doesn't like James Gunn. My rent went up $50. No. I don't care. I really don't. The problem with celebrating it is that you need to understand who is trying to buy it and what ramifications does that have for the future of newscasting as the way we know it today. Right? It's not just Warner Brothers. If you catch, it's not just DC Studios. With them trying to, again, they already did it with CBS. And again, Trump had his hand in that. I don't like that. For the simple reason is that if the FCC jumps in and starts doing stuff that's illegal to try to have the government that is majority right now, the House, the Senate, and the presidency is ran by the Republicans. Now, I'm not trying to get political, but understand what I'm saying. In CNN, like MSNBC, like other news, say MSNBC, CBS News, the CBS News was left, it was not, politically like all the way left or whatever. It was not all the way right. It just gave you the news. And they made sure to try to buy it, right? To push, it's the news, to push more far right wing conversations. And if that came out of the president's mouth, you know what I mean? So I'm just saying there is more to this than James Gunn. Right? I want to share that with you before we go any further, because it's more than just that. All right. It says it's putting itself up for sale. In a press release, the company announced a review of strategic alternatives to maximize shareholder values, which after they announced that they were going up for sale, shares went up. Just put that out there. Which is Wall Street speak for a sale. Warner Brothers Discovery said it had recently received unsolicited interest from multiple parties for both the entire company and Warner Brothers alone. The WBD houses a variety of media businesses, from cable networks and news outlets to popular franchises, movie studios, and streaming platforms. The company also holds the rights to broadcast a range of sports internationally, from the Olympics to the French Open in Europe to the Premier League in the UK. The company said that while it shops itself around, it will continue to work on the previously announced split of its cable networks from its streaming and studio businesses. Warner Brothers Discovery shares surged on the news, rising more than 10%. The move comes as the media industry has continued a years-long consolidation effort sparked in part by changes in consumer habits, most notably the rise of internet-based competitors such as Netflix and the decline in cable TV viewership. Actually, I don't know anybody who has cable TV anymore. Any deal for the part of all of the company would be a sizable one. As of Monday's closing of trading, Warner Brothers Discovery had a market value of more than $45 billion. It also carries billions of dollars of debt on its balance sheets. WBD studio business could be attracted to another studio owner, streaming, or tech company. It has released a number of recent box office hits and holds the rights to Harry Potter and DC comic heroes such as Superman, as well as other popular franchises. Comcast, which owns NBC's news parent company, NBC Universal, is one of the many companies likely to take a look at Warner Brothers. So NBC Universal is putting their bid out there. Discovery Access, two people familiar in the matter told NBC News. But the company currently has a high bar for a deal, they said. In September, rival Paramount Global was preparing a bid for all of WB, but that appeared to stall in recent weeks. This is who I was talking about that end up buying CBS, Paramount, right? Now, it has came out the reason why the Ellisons bought CBS and Paramount. They bought it for the simple fact is that Trump sued them. This is the reason why that the Trey Parker and Matt Stone will forever be goated by still pushing that South Park episode when they made fun of Trump. So, you know what I mean? Because he doesn't like to be made fun of. He wants to be putting it's weird, man. We got a country to run. Nobody gives a crap what they think about you. Run the damn country and run it right. Anyway, Tuesday's news injects fresh uncertainty into WBD's business, which in recent years has gone through a series of changes. In early 2000, it was known as Time Warner. The company was transformed by a string of deals that include spinning off Time Warner Cable and Time Magazine. In 2014, the company faced a takeover bid for the Rupert Murdoch News Corp, which later was withdrawn. AT&T acquired Time Warner in 2016 for $85 billion and merging it with some TV assets that it already owned. But the deal faced a years-long battle with the Justice Department, which sought to block it on antitrust grounds. AT&T ended up spinning off of the company in another deal, which set the stage for the 2022 merger with Discovery. In June, Warner Brothers Discovery announced its latest deal, which ultimately cleaved off HBO and its HBO Max streaming platform, along with Warner Brothers Studios and DC Comics, into a new company. WBD's latest announcement closely mirrors the moves of another major media company. Earlier this year, Skydance acquired CBS owner Paramount, while in late 2024, Comcast announced it would spin off many of its cable networks, including CNBC and MSNBC, into a new company called Versant. Under Comcast spinoff plan, the Peacock streaming platform, Bravo, and NBC broadcast network will remain part of Comcast. And that is the end of that story. So my biggest fear, which, the Paramount company is not on the table. But you have to be careful what's going on and kind of understand what's going on. Because like I said, you don't want the FCC to come in and the FCC and the government to start telling people to start buying up companies because they don't like, the president doesn't like to be talked about. You know what I mean? It's weird. It's not weird. This is not what America's foundation, what they call their foundation is set on. This ain't it. This ain't it. So we got to hold their feet to the fire when it comes to this, and look at exactly what's going on. And that's what gets me to the James Gunn conversation, which we're going to go into the interview here in a moment. Now, again, what everybody gets kept saying is James Gunn, James Gunn, James Gunn, James Gunn. Remember, I told you guys when we did the reaction video with Six the Truth put out about Danny. When she said, well, this source is telling me that he's done. This was just a sales job. They boosted it up so they could sell it, all of that, which I don't know. So that's why we're going to get into the interview. I want to hear what he got to say, all of that. What's up, Blue? What's up, Xavier Phoenix? What's up? Did I see you earlier? Yeah. Judah Network, what's up? And I said, well, none of the trades said there was going to be a separation of Peter Safran and James Gunn away from the DC studios based on the rumor of the sale. That was my thing. That's the only thing that I wanted to hear. Brother Jummer, what's up? That's what I wanted to hear. Based on the announcement of them, putting the studio up for sale, that James Gunn and Peter, not just James Gunn, because people keep going after. Have you noticed that every time we have this conversation, it's always James Gunn? And James Gunn runs a portion of DC Studios. Peter Safran runs the other side of the James Gunn, the direction, the creative. That look, Puma Lee, what's up? He runs that. So that's what he runs, right? He runs all the creative side to DC Studios and how the outlook of DC Studios is going to be. That's what he does, right? Peter Safran runs the business side of that, So that's what he does have a little input. Even James Gunn said there were scenes that was in Superman that he calls the Safran cut, where Safran was like, no, I don't like that. Put that in there. Nobody is saying anything about Safran, but everybody has been saying James Gunn is done. That's what's giving me pause. You know what I mean? Because they signed their contract, they are a package deal. This is just like if this was Marvel Studios, right? And it's Kevin Feige and Avi Arad, that that if they came in at the same time and said we're going to create Marvel Studios, well, you just can't take Kevin Feige without Avi Arad. You got to take them both, because they're a package deal. When they signed that contract, they signed it to come on together, right? So when everybody keeps talking about James Gunn, I haven't heard anything about Peter Safran. So again, that's why I'm saying I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't sound right. So that's just my 2 cents. Again, from a distance. I'm gonna take a real. None of these commercials are really, really quick. But I'm gonna take a quick commercial break, and I'm gonna be right back with more of the Dre Mack Show.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit. Taste the butter spread. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the butter spread. Get your butter spread all on me. I don't like the way it mixes with my mac and cheese.
We now return to the Transformers.
All right. Let's get to the this interview James Gunn did with Emergency Awesome. I'm not going to have time for new rock stars, and it's probably going to be repeated questions. But so I rather, because this is one-on-one with him at FIC, and this is about 17 minutes. So let's get into it. James Gunn interview with Emergency Awesome. Let's go.
Like that, because I go, oh yeah, that's a pretty good idea. I want to see Peacemaker. If you ever see Peacemaker riding a dinosaur, it's because of you, not because I thought of that on my own.
Hold up, wait a minute. Okay, I was about to say Peacemaker is in Salvation, and he's opening this up with Charlie talking about riding the dinosaur. We might, I don't know. Well, let's get into it.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. I had a chance to speak with James Gunn one-on-one on the future of the DCU, including the next Superman movie. So we'll break down everything that we talked about. It was actually pretty cool. There wasn't any kind of evil team of lawyers from Warner Brothers telling me that I wasn't allowed to ask him certain things. He was actually pretty open.
Okay, before we so I knew I wasn't sure, because like I said, New Rockstars was on there. One thing about this before I let it go any further. This is the day of of the announcement of the sale. And he's talking about still the future of the universe. Now, let me just ask the chat. I just want to hear what you got to say. Do you think that if he was going to be on the outs, would he be talking about all the upcoming projects, of the DCU that's coming up? Just want to hear what you guys got to say. I'm going to say no, and this is the reason why. Because we knew that 20th Century Fox was getting bought. That Disney was going to acquire the rights to the X-Men, the rights to those Fox properties. We knew that. You didn't hear anyone come out from Fox saying this is going to be the future of our universe, and we're going to do this, and we're going to break in this, we're going to break in that. You didn't hear any of that. So that's why I still have a little bit of pause when it comes to this. And what you don't want to do is go into a new business adventure, right? You sell this company and then you get rid of the assets that help build. Think about it like this. This guy helped build the previous studios that he came from franchise as a writer of the Guardians of the Galaxy and all of that. We love those movies. Those movies made money, right? You're not going to kick that guy out just for nothing. And I don't think, after a year or no, let me take that back. Going on 4 years since the announcement, which is 3 years because it was November of 2022, you're going to take 4 years and be like, you know what? I don't want to do this. I just don't believe that. I just don't. There's too much money in stake. There's too much which he's not. Q is not a robot, because the next upcoming projects are not written by him, not written or directed by him. So I think he really wanted to do Superman. I think that was almost like his baby, is, what he wanted to do. And I was watching that last night. But again, after 4 years, the band is cooked. And nobody heard of Peter Safran.
There were a number of other YouTube channels that also got to talk to him. They all did a group chat where they took turns asking him questions.
That's what I was thinking.
I just talked to him alone with just the two of us. So I wasn't part of that group talk. It was just me and James Gunn. Just a couple of dudes being dudes talking about comic books. So if you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. There is a bunch of big DC stuff coming up too, which I'll address during our talk that we had together during this. Surprisingly, the reason why I actually got to talk to James Gunn was because he reached out to me because he liked all the DC videos that I made for the TV shows, the movies the past couple of years, like the Superman videos, Peacemaker episode videos.
Hey, your boy got to get up so somebody can call me. Call me. Let me talk to you, Jimmy.
Creature Commandos. I'll be doing weekly episode videos for Lanterns when it starts next year. Originally, when he reached out, I actually thought that I was in trouble for something, like it was a setup, and when I dialed in, there'd be some lawyer serving me with papers or something on the other end. But it turns out he was just trying to say thank you for all the videos, and he actually does like people making videos about the stuff that he does, picking apart the stuff that he does. Then he just also happened to tell me about the future of the DCU. So
okay, that's what I wanted. Again, a guy on the outs is not going to be sitting up here wasting his time making movies when he knows he's out. It was up. I like that meme though, because it comes from Dexter. But that's what I don't know. And again, I do like this. This was one-on-one. I do like he's going to talk about the future, all of that, and then that's cool on James Gunn's part to know that, hey, this guy is doing me a solid, talking about the stuff that I do, dissecting it, having his own things or whatever. Let me reach out to this guy and just say thank you. I'm sorry. Blue, where you at? Has Kevin Feige ever did that? Kevin Feige gonna call Blue one day, and then he gonna go in there, and it's gonna be Mickey Mouse, and he trying to choke Blue through the through the fiber optics, through the Wi-Fi.
Just starting with that, the ending of Peacemaker with Rick Flag leaving him on the Salvation Planet in the other universes was intended to be a much bigger teaser than most people thought, and he said it would be a pretty big part of the Man of Tomorrow plot. Probably the biggest follow-up to that was him saying that they're not doing all the Darkseid subplot from that Salvation Run storyline in the comics during Man of Tomorrow. We also talked a little bit about George R. R. Martin because the Salvation Run storyline was actually originally pitched by George R. R. Martin a long time ago. And when he wrote that, he didn't realize that George R. R. Martin had did that just because George R. R. Martin has a long history in comic books in addition to all of his Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire work.
I didn't know.
So I did get to talk to him a little bit
that.
about Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon, even though it was mostly about the DC movies, DC TV shows.
Wow.
Also turns out James Gunn is well aware that I also make a lot of Game of Thrones videos, House of the Dragon, now Night of the Seven Kingdoms. But according to him, they're just adapting the aspect of the Salvation story where the government sends metahumans to the planet in the other universe. At the end, like I said earlier, he thinks it'd be way too similar to what Marvel did with Thanos at the end of that first Avengers movie.
Yeah.
Things that it would be fun to examine there.
Justice League will be very different from Zack Snyder's Justice League, and because Darkseid just reads too similar to what Marvel did with Thanos during the Infinity Saga over 10 plus years. So he doesn't want to just do DC's version of Thanos. Even though comic book fans know the difference, most of the casual people going to these movies will just see him as another version of Thanos.
I completely agree with that. My pitch was he gets to this planet and this were one of my ideas is that I would like to have Brainiac introduced because Brainiac has not really been done, in the main universe as a main bad guy. Now, I don't know a lot of DC villains like that, so you can most definitely put who you will want in the chat or in the comment section if you're watching this again. But I would love to see Brainiac in live action. You know what I mean? Playing the Injustice video game. Brainiac is dope as hell. Do you know what I mean? So I wouldn't mind seeing him as the overarching villain to set up, 10 years. Or who do you got? Put that's not Darkseid. Put it in the comment section below.
But he did say that he is very excited to do New Gods in Fourth World Jack Kirby characters like that. So specifically pointed out the Mr. Miracle TV show that they're working on right now with Tom King based on his Mr. Miracle comic book. That's going to be the first thing that features the Fourth World.
I'm sorry. I don't know who Mr. Miracle. Maybe I need to go holler at Rob from Comics Explained so he can tell me who Mr. Miracle is because I need to get on my DC. But Tom King is the man, though. And that's what I'm saying. It's cool that he's bringing in comic book right. He's not shutting them away like what we heard from what's his name that created Deadpool? Rob Liefeld. Rob Liefeld totally destroyed Marvel, Kevin Feige, all of that for shunning him during Deadpool and what they've been doing. Marvel Comics itself, not just the studio, Marvel Comics itself has been doing the comic writers. I met the guy who created Spider-Man Noir during the Planet Comic-Con in Kansas City, and they said the same thing. The comic writer said the same thing. Now, that man told me that story, and I bought a $150 comic book he signed. Actually, he gave me 2 comics.
Does release, but the way he talked about it, they're still working on the scripts for that, so it's probably not going to release at least until 2027. So it's going to be a while before we actually get a trailer for that.
Hey, what up, mate?
People like Brainiac, Lex Luthor, and the Injustice League, Sinestro, Necron, if you're talking about Blackest Night, Hal Jordan as a version of Parallax, the Anti-Monitor, Vandal Savage. There are just many other even weirder twists and villains that they could also use, but it does sound like, just based on the way he was talking about it, the new version of the Justice League team will mostly stick with more relatable villains first, just because the bigger team-up movies, the future Justice League movies, need to be more accessible for casual audiences who aren't as down for the super deep-cut characters or the weirder characters.
Sorry.
Normally, when people talk about this phenomenon, they always point towards Guardians of the Galaxy, like talking tree, talking raccoon. James Gunn can do weirder characters that can be successful. Just based on the way he talked about it, he's being a little bit safer with the bigger team-up movies. In the weirder stuff, he will leave for like the side projects, like the TV shows especially, and the smaller movies.
Okay, so if I'm hearing this right, he's going to make sure that the weirder characters saving that for TV, and the bigger characters saving that for the movies. Got it.
I couldn't get him to confirm who the next big Justice League villain is going to be, but it does sound like it makes more sense for them to do something like Lex Luthor in the Injustice League or Brainiac before he tries doing another live-action version of Anti-Monitor, because they just did live-action Anti-Monitor during the Arrowverse Crisis on Infinite Earths. I did all kinds of videos for that a couple years ago when it happened. James Gunn said his big thing was not repeating villains in the same way. Also, Marvel is doing Avengers Doomsday next year and then Secret Wars in 2027, which are huge multiverse crossover team-up movies in the same way DC's Crisis on Infinite Earths would be in the movies. So I don't think that he ever do Crisis on Infinite Earths in the live-action movies. Also, if you remember, before they hired James Gunn to come on and be their new Kevin Feige and reboot with the DCU plan for the movies, the previous regime that they had in place that was going to bring Henry Cavill back and like all the other DCEU actors were going to build to a version of Crisis on Infinite Earths in the movies. So it sounds like James.
Again, this is what makes me have pause. Understand why I'm saying this. Is because if they're building all of the previous regime was trying to fast track stuff without it being earned, what I mean by that is that, for one, Warner Brothers television department did a way better job establishing certain characters and stuff like that in the TV universe than the actual movies did. The cartoons did it better than anybody. And then the movie studios, because that's where your big money is at, was trying to just fast track everything and try to make it, to try to compete with Marvel, and you just can't do it. You gotta earn it, and they never earned it. So I think this is good on their part to do it like this.
James Gunn, when he came in, was like, okay, we'll do our completely different, completely separate plan. Right now, the next two big things that they're releasing are the Lanterns, Green Lantern HBO series, and the Supergirl movie. I was not able to get him to say exactly when the Lanterns episodes are going to release. There's a whole bunch of business suits at HBO that actually program when the shows release year to year in order to line up with award seasons for the Emmys. It'll probably be after Euphoria season 3 episodes, but before the Supergirl movie comes out. We talked a little bit about the Arrowverse and the Nazi planet because of their whole Crisis on Earth X crossover that they did a couple years ago. He did say that there's always a chance that Keith returns for revenge later, but it's not something that they're going to deal with during the Man of Tomorrow movie or anytime soon. So for now, the Nazi planet is just a hanging plot thread that he can go back to if he wants to, or if it makes sense for some other TV show. But it's not going to turn into some much bigger storyline. Like, it's not intended to be a big teaser for things to come. Like the Nazi Justice League isn't going to come pouring out of the quantum unfolding chamber through their universe or anything like that.
That's what I was trying to say when people was like, oh, well, he went to another universe. That wasn't meant to set up anything. It was just, it was a part of Chris's journey. You go over there, you see that your perfect euphoria doesn't even like the people who love you the most. It's character. It was a character-driven story, not necessarily action-driven or something like that. It was character-driven, so, or it wasn't, universe-driven, where the universe or the area that you in, that's driving the plot point. It wasn't that.
Like that.
Fighting a government that's run by Nazis. I mean, I don't know really what they're going to do.
He also said when it comes to stuff like that, the concern is logistically what they're doing with the Pocket Universe storyline in the next couple of movies and TV shows. Part of the whole reason why he made Lex Luthor's man, Sidney Happerson, rig it up for site-to-site teleporting between the DCU and Salvation so they can just open up the door and go straight to Salvation is so that he, James Gunn, didn't have to deal with the other 99 portals to other universes inside the quantum chamber every time somebody wants to go to the Salvation Planet in the Man of Tomorrow movie. So like every time they want to dump another metahuman on Salvation or Rick Flag wants to go there, they don't need to walk past all the other 99 other universes with like the little gnomes coming out of the Candyland dimension or the
Right.
weird neighbor alien burning rats or any of the other dimensions in general, like Keith jumping out of the shadows from his universe to attack them.
I
But this isn't
understand
the
that.
absolute end of that inside space of the Pocket Universe, and he also made it sound like he was confirming that the Pocket Universe itself, like that box that the alien had that opened up that pocket dimension, was not meant to be a mother box. There are a lot of theories about that. He did joke about that he actually watches everybody's theories online just to see what everybody is thinking and how close they are to what he's actually doing. So part of
Hey.
the idea is that when they do go back to the
Yo, just think of James Gunn or these actors legitimately watching your product. You know what I mean? That's awesome. All right, James Gunn be like, what is Taste of Biscuits? Thumbhead. I'm gonna put that in my next movie.
the quantum unfolding chamber, like the inside of that space with the other 99 universes, it'll be some other different TV show or movie that does it. Speaking of which, that other big Checkmate teaser at the end of Peacemaker Season 2, he confirmed that it was meant to be a big teaser for things to come for the 11th Street Kids just in general. Like it wasn't just meant to be a throwaway joke and then they'll never go back to Checkmate or like they're just going to be a running joke across the DCU. It will be a bigger thing. Here's the thing with that, though. The reason why he said they didn't immediately announce a Checkmate TV show right after the Peacemaker finale, just because it seemed like you would time something like that for the Peacemaker finale reveal, was mostly because he hasn't totally figured out the new TV show, like the Checkmate TV show, and how he wants that Checkmate group to cross over in the movies, like the 11th Street Kids.
That makes
Meaning
sense.
that for right now, Checkmate is probably just still going to be a small Easter egg in the background of Man of Tomorrow. Like those characters aren't going to be a huge part of the plot for Man of Tomorrow. And even though they will cross over in future movies, Checkmate isn't meant to replace Argus, like Adebayo isn't meant to replace her mother, Amanda Waller, as a de facto character in the MCU. Like she's not becoming the new Amanda Waller of the DCU. Just
That makes
based on the
sense.
vibe of my talk with him, it sounded like he's thinking more in the lines of a Checkmate TV show, and once he figures out the scripts for that, then they will do actual episodes. But it did sound like he wasn't going to force that, so if a stronger show, like a stronger idea for a show that the 11th Street Kids and Checkmate can be in, comes along, he will do that instead of doing a Checkmate TV show. Like he's fine not doing a Checkmate spin-off project on its own.
I mean, to me, it sounds like he's taking his time and trying to craft this universe the best way he sees fit, and I like that. He's not just throwing crap on the wall and just saying, "Here, go, just enjoy this," just because we need to, pad our streaming service.
100% though, there will be no Peacemaker Season 3, so the only major places the 11th Street Kids group, just in general, like the non-Peacemaker characters, will show up next are the Amanda Waller TV show, which is kind of its own separate thing that they're still working on scripts for, but he did say they were still working on, which will also address what Amanda Waller has been doing right now during the events of Peacemaker Season 2 while this alternate universe subplot has been going on. The Superman movie and now the Man of Tomorrow movie are happening. She has been very busy. And just because of how important James Gunn said the Salvation Planet is going to be in Man of Tomorrow, it did sound like a confirmation that Peacemaker will be back in that. I was able to joke with him a lot about Peacemaker coming back. Like, what if you just had him in the background on a monitor riding a dinosaur? That's all you really need to do with Peacemaker.
That's a pretty good idea. I want to see Peacemaker. If you ever see Peacemaker riding a dinosaur, it's because of you.
Seriously, though, I did think it was cool.
Hey, if I see Peacemaker riding a dinosaur, I'm like, damn it, Charlie, I should have spoke to him. I would have had this man on a pterodactyl, you know what I'm saying, or some other creature. I want a chance.
Cool that he legitimately listens to our ideas and theories online and will sometimes incorporate them into the plots of movies and TV shows, although I do not expect him to actually add this to the Man of Tomorrow movie.
What are you talking about, Six the Truth? He didn't just throw that crap against the wall. What are you talking about? The show literally closed out all the plot threads that came from season 1, and again, character driven. So all the character driven storylines were already wrapped up by the end of season 2. What are you talking about? and it goes into the story that he wants to tell for Man of Tomorrow. What are you talking about? I'm just saying. I'm just asking. Millennial air. What's up?
We talked a little bit more about Man of Tomorrow and the future of the movies. He did.
Okay. Explain to me how it ended up. Ended on some crap. Which you didn't like the concert at the end. I can agree with you. You know what I mean? If you didn't like the basic epilogue that set up Man of Tomorrow, okay, but you can't say it's crap when it ended all the character arcs that we went into, right? Is that what happened? Did it end all the character arcs? Did everybody get a close on the character? That's what I'm saying. Did it set up the future of the DCU with Salvation? Is Salvation something that they applied in the comics and they can put into live action? I check yes, yes, and yes. So what are you talking about? You got to explain. You can't say, oh, they threw crap against the wall. What was the crap? How was it done? Who, what, where, when, and why? You got to explain yourself, big dog.
He confirmed that he's trying to make everything feel very different from everything that's come before, most recently with the Snyderverse, DCEU movies, TV shows, and everything that Marvel has done so far. The Superman movie is probably the best example for that right now. Like, it feels totally different from what he did in Marvel and what the Snyderverse movies were. But he also did say that not all the DC movies will be in that same tone. Like Man of Tomorrow, for instance, which he is writing and directing right now, will also feel very different from the Superman movie. Mostly, I think what he meant by that was that it won't be nearly as goofy with its references and jokes. Lex Luthor himself won't be quite as over the top as he got during the Superman movie. His cameo scene on Peacemaker, where he got a little colder and more calculating, was a good example of that. Generally just felt like he and Nicholas Hoult are still figuring out that Lex Luthor character. And he has confirmed that the title of Man...
And I said that the Lex Luthor character that was at the end of Peacemaker reminded me more of the Lex Luthor character from the Justice League Unlimited. And it wouldn't surprise me if and Smallville, because he took a lot of inspiration for Smallville, but it wouldn't surprise me if they led up to like that Justice League Unlimited. If he does the Justice League, there it would end up looking like that.
Man of Tomorrow is both a reference to Superman and Lex Luthor, much more Lex Luthor than Superman, and it's more of a Lex Luthor movie than the first Superman movie was, where he was more of a side character in Superman's perspective. Way more of Man of Tomorrow will be told from Lex Luthor's perspective, and he did say that he was fascinated with the Lex Luthor as a character just in general, like he identified with him as a character.
Terrible.
Generally, the movie is meant to be more of a twisted kind of buddy cop movie where they're forced to team up to stop a larger threat. The Superman is not powerful enough to stop by himself or even with the Justice Gang characters without the help of Lex Luthor. I was not able to get James Gunn to confirm that Brainiac is the main villain of Man of Tomorrow. I was only able to talk to him for about 15 minutes, so there were a ton of questions that I was not able to actually get to with him. But just because
I'm not gonna lie, I wish I was to see more of the interview, but I know he probably didn't want this video to go on like super long. So I get that, but I wish I would have seen more of the conversation with him and James Gunn. And to explain the Feige has had how long to create a universe where you need to go on Blue's channel when it comes to Feige, because I criticize Feige in the way that the universe is being structured outside of phase 1, 2, and 3. Once Endgame ended, it started going everywhere, but it wasn't just Kevin Feige's fault. It was all of Disney. If you've been on my channel long enough, I've already talked about what Bob Chapek did. It's the reason why I've said this. The reason why Chadwick Boseman didn't get paid. The reason why what's her name? That played Black Widow didn't get paid. You know, it didn't get paid what her money was. There was problems that no, go to Blue's channel if you want to discuss more Kevin Feige. But I'm just saying, you can criticize, a product right? You criticize a product. Scarlett Johansson, thank you. You can criticize a product, but I'm not going at the man. I don't know Kevin Feige like that, but I do criticize the product, and I will give you who, what, where, when, and why I'm criticizing. You know what I'm saying? And how? This is the problem that I have. This is this. This doesn't make sense. This is put here. Why is this? Why did you give this? Why did you give that? I can ask those questions. Why? Because I can reference the points in time where that doesn't match for that. As proper criticism. You know what I mean? James Gunn just started this. And yes, we criticize James Gunn also. But not to the point where you just like, he's just throwing crap on the wall. What? Bruh,
How different he said he was trying to be with the DCU.
Bro, open up your eyes is not criticism. Criticism is not saying this is crap. Remember, I always talk about these grifters with sign language. Shame, insults, guilt, and the need to be right. If you can't explain yourself, the reason why, if you said he's throwing crap up to the wall, what was the crap? What was the idea that he pitched besides him trying to boost up these huge cameos at the end of Peacemaker that he didn't allow any of the YouTubers and the media to be able to get it, episodes 6, 7, and 8. I do criticize them on that because then their expectations is they're not thinking Lex Luthor. They're thinking Superman when they thinking of big cameos, even though Lex Luthor is a big cameo. Having the that team that Lex Luthor had, because now we know what the end game was. That was huge. You know what I mean? But I understand people's expectation. I always say the enemy of progress is expectations.
From previous DCU movies makes it seem like the likelihood of Brainiac just shot up to 99%. Pretty much every big major event, villain is now on the board in terms of stories and theory crafting that has not been done in a big way in live action before. Probably one of the best examples of that is Gorilla Grodd is meant to be connected to the Jimmy Olsen Daily Planet TV show on HBO. He didn't say a ton of else about that one specifically or the Mr. Terrific HBO series, but they are doing those, and it sounds like it's still early days. They're still working on scripts before start making big announcements about them. When it comes to all the cosmic stuff in the DCU, it sounds like James Gunn is waiting more on the Lanterns episodes next year and the Supergirl movie to start before he starts talking more about Green Lantern Corps, War of Light, Sinestro Corps, other Lantern Corps, like really, really big cosmic stories. There are a lot of people asking if he's ever going to do a live-action version of Blackest Night. It's like a big team-up movie crossover. Green Lantern lore is just a good example because of how DC got scared away from Green Lantern stuff after the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie that even made Zack Snyder take away his Green Lantern stuff in the Justice League Snyder Cut, even though he shot it on his own dime. So just fertile territory.
That would have been your Jon Stewart right there, big dog.
For James Gunn. But I'm not expecting him to go straight to Blackest Night or anything like that.
I knew that if we were going to get things started, I had to dive in and just go full force. And
when it actually came to Batman, he'd already talked so much about the new DCU Batman so much. I didn't try to ask him too many questions about like who's going to be the new Batman or what's happening with Batman Brave and the Bold, just because I knew he wasn't going to answer a ton of questions about that. They haven't cast an actor yet, but they have changed a lot of what the story was going to be since he announced it a couple years ago. So I've already done a couple videos about that. I'll link them in the description below. I was bummed that I didn't get the chance to ask him about the new version of The Flash. He's already talked a little bit about the new version of Wonder Woman. That's going to happen before New Flash. Probably still going to be a couple years before a legit Flash shows up on screen. We will see which version of The Flash that winds up being, though. My bet, just because he is trying to be different, and based on evidence from the Superman movie, Easter eggs that we actually saw in the background, it'll wind up being the Wally West Flash on his new Justice League, not the Barry Allen Flash.
Would y'all be down for the Wally West Flash? Just put it in the comment section below and let me know what you think. Wally West Flash, or you know what I mean? Yeah, let me know.
It's just because everybody's always asking about Grant Gustin, other DCEU or DC actors from the past several years coming back. James Gunn has said previously he's totally fine with actors coming back and playing new characters. Speaking of The Flash, he even joked about Michael Rooker coming back again after just doing a couple different DC characters with him in different movies, like his Suicide Squad character, then his new Peacemaker character, but also coming back as a new version of The Flash, even though that was meant to be a joke. he will be legitimately bringing Michael Rooker back as some other DC character in the future, like some bigger ongoing character. So,
and the reason why, and that's why I was saying about Justice League Unlimited. I'm thinking he's leading more to Justice League Unlimited more than he's leading to lean into anything else. I'm thinking he's leaning more into Justice League Unlimited. But what Justice League team do you think he's leaning into? Put it in the comment section below and let me know, or put it in the chat.
if he's willing to bring Michael Rooker back as a third different DC character in more recent movies, then yes, it's totally possible for other big DC actors to come back. Jason Momoa's Lobo is probably the best, most recent example of that, like, very high profile
That's
actor
gonna be
coming
awesome.
back. I am sure there are a billion other questions that everybody has about my talk with him, or things he said specifically, or other upcoming DC movies or TV shows. So if there's anything that I didn't talk about in this video or didn't address, just write them below in the comments and I'll try to answer them in the comments. Generally, it's just really cool that he actually took the time to sit down and talk to me one-on-one. Hopefully I'll get a chance to talk to him again about some other future DC movies, like when Batman comes out in a couple years. I just did a whole bunch of New York Comic-Con trailer videos. Click here for all those, and click here for my longer super.
All right. Hold on real quick. I'm going to let me see. That took a little bit. You know what? Give me just a second. I'm gonna take us to a quick commercial break, and I'm gonna be right back with more of the Dre Max Show. Let's keep going.
The Transformers will return after these messages.
Are you going down? Then you gotta know the best way to go. On the down low.
Damn, you banking like that, and you come over here with a biscuit meal, man?
Would you like to take a survey?
No. Elevator go down the hall.
It's you? It's you!
Whoop-de-doo.
We are talking about the same girl.
Okay, well, what do we do? Fight a duel or something?
Well, I don't know. Maybe,
My buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy. Wherever I go, he goes. Like this?
Slower. Bend over.
Studman, what's going on?
Darling, are you all right?
Studman, who was that woman?
That was Professor Haight, disguised as an ugly French lap dancer.
Ugly? She looked beautiful.
I suppose she might have been considered beautiful until you walked in the room.
Oh, Stedman, I've been dreaming of this moment. Come here.
Wild horses couldn't keep me away. Invisible robots!
Invisible robots?
Beep, 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 beep. Look out!
We now return to the Transformers.
All right. Give me just a second. I want to check out New Rockstar's interview with James Gunn also. I'm not going to play all of it. I just want to hear some of the questions that he asks. So let's go.
That other dimension where salvation is.
Well, I wouldn't go. Okay, but don't.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Boss, and I had an opportunity to chat with James Gunn himself, head of DC Studios and director of Superman and its upcoming sequel, Man of Tomorrow, and of course the creator of the Peacemaker series. We talked about Gunn's plans for DC Studios' future, whether Planet Salvation is or is not leading to Darkseid, what Man of Tomorrow will really be about, and how DC will differentiate itself from Marvel Studios, and various other topics coming out of Peacemaker Season 2. And what was really fun about this interview is I got to be joined on this call with Ryan Arey from Screen Crush and Heather Antos. They are the best. I love them. And you can actually watch another version of this group discussion with Ryan and Heather sharing more of their thoughts on the Screen Crush channel. But in this new Rockstars video, I'm going to share our group conversation with James, and then I'm going to close out at the end of this video with just my takeaways of where the DCU is headed based on what we learned from James Gunn. So enjoy this interview with head of DC Studios, James Gunn.
Should we go ahead and get started?
Do it.
If you guys don't mind, I have a quick...
And like I said, I'm going to play some of this that's on here. I'm not going to play the whole entire thing because I got stuff to do. But I did want to just hear, I want to see his mannerisms. That's what I was looking for. What his mannerism is, you know, what would he say? What would he not say? I just want to hear from the man directly himself. So let's go.
Question for James that I feel like might be on you guys' minds too. James, with Peacemaker's finale, spoiler warning for the Peacemaker finale, we're really seeing your first foray into the DC multiverse, and what it ended up being was like one nightmare dimension after another. We had a Nazi world, we had imps that eat your face, we had zombies, right. Giant skull spiders, and now what seems like Darkseid's training ground with some parademons in the trees.
Well, I wouldn't go. Okay, don't.
I almost tried to catch you there.
Don't expect too much. I mean, I think it's like, don't expect that to be exactly what it is. Like I said, I like, you know, I was just saying to somebody. So when I read Salvation Run, I really liked the idea of Salvation Run. I liked the idea of supervillains building a society in this other dimension, and I liked the way that it was a very practical way that Amanda Waller and Rick Flag Jr. in that instance were trying to deal with the problem of metahumans who continuously escape from prison in a way that I think a fed up government might. Those were the things that interested me. And one of the most fascinating things to me was in starting to deal with the larger overall story that I'm talking about doing, was reading that George R.R. Martin was the guy who came up with Salvation and what his concept was, which seemed to be much closer to what interested me about the project.
So this is basically the same thing Charlie talked about. And it sounds like Salvation, if we know what George R.R. Martin wrote, then we probably got a generalization of what Salvation is going to look like from that part of the interview.
So nothing yet as to whether this training ground or this planet may be a dark side connection.
He said it's training ground.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
Are you sure?
Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna speed this. I'm gonna speed this up just a little bit too. Just because I kind of want to get through some of this. If it's too fast, I'll slow it down to like 1/4.
I know a lot of your earliest influences were films like Night of the Living Dead and a lot of horror. I mean, your background with Slither and Belko Experiment, which, by the way, my best friend.
I kind of didn't want to. I kind of wanted to just hear what Eric had to say. No disrespect to anybody else on the panel, but I kind of was just expecting to hear, you know, his parts.
James, I wanted to ask you, now that you're studio head, you're kind of in a position to where, every word you say is being quoted as some kind of news or being pulled apart. You know, we're so used to every summer having studio heads from other franchises out there with their big slate reveal, calendar dates, years in the future. Is that something you plan to do, or do you have a different plan? Do you look at things like Comic-Con as an opportunity to
what up, Duran?
To the fans, or do you like doing things like smaller social media releases?
I think it's a case-by-case basis. But I think the one thing I've sort of found in my time, both making movies and being somewhat in the public eye, is that it just depends on the situation. Sometimes you really benefit from, you know, going to Comic-Con and spending, you know, millions of dollars and selling, you know, an idea, especially when you have a great trailer or something like that. But other times, you know, I post a picture of the cover of a screenplay on Instagram for $0, and it's equally effective. It gets just as much press. So you have to kind of always ask yourself, what is it that's worth spending money on? And the truth for me is a lot of what I, you know, the hard thing for me is I just don't have much time. You know, So, like, to be completely honest, I really appreciate what you guys have done with the show and everything. I appreciate your shows. I think they're fun to watch, whether about my stuff or something else. And so this was my idea to do, a handful of people whose stuff I enjoy and say, let's give them a little bit of time because I appreciate it. And you guys make it.
My gosh, thank you.
So I know Darius does not like the fact that James Gunn is always on threads talking. I don't know if he doesn't like that more than Bo DeMayo talking. So I don't know which one he doesn't like more. All right, let's get to a little bit more of this.
James, you're doing amazing work.
Thank you
so much, James.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Okay, that was an amazing conversation. And again, subscribe to Screen Crush and watch Ryan and Heather's video for more of their insights. Here now is what I can now confirm about James Gunn's DCU plan. First, Planet Salvation is not necessarily headed to Darkseid and the Final Crisis storyline, as many of us speculated in our breakdowns of the Peacemaker Season 2 finale. But James Gunn has said in other interviews that Salvation and the relationship between Lex Luthor and Rick Flag Sr. and Superman will all be very important to Man of Tomorrow. He actually called it, quote, the escalating war that's going on between the government and metahumans. He said that this is an idea he's had in his head for a long time. And it just sounds like the whole idea is it's not just going to be DC villains in Planet Salvation, it's going to be any metahumans. It's going to be their more extreme version of Arkham Asylum. So James Gunn has said that he just loves the concept of Salvation Run as it was imagined from a pitch from George R.R. Martin as an inescapable prison planet for metahumans, and with that in mind, any DC metahuman could end up on that planet. It won't just be Lex versus the Joker as it was in the comics. Actually, when Rolling Stone asked Gunn if this whole idea of massive government agents showing up to kidnap metahumans in the middle of the night, taking them to some unknown detainment center, could have been something pulled from current events and the headlines, and Gunn hinted that, that wasn't entirely coincidental. Now, when it comes to me, I wasn't...
Oh, wow. So he's calling Salvation ice. That's basically, if I could put it in any other words, that's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like to me. And only for $50,000 signing bonus, you could go sign up right now.
looking forward that much to Darkseid being a big bad anyway when it came to James Gunn's plans. Like, we already saw where Zack Snyder was going with that in the Snyder Cut. We already saw Thanos in the MCU. And in fact, I don't need any big bad. Really, I just love how it sounds like James Gunn is diverging from the Marvel model by making situational villains and thematic villains linked to the heroes of each story. And villains who, this is very important, are not killed off or destroyed by the ends of those stories. Like, they are an op in one story and an ally in the next while still retaining the core aspects of their characters. Like, we're already seeing that with Lex Luthor. He was a villain in Superman, and now he's going to be an anti-hero who's still very much an evil prick who just has to work together with Superman and Man of Tomorrow. I assume that's also going to be true for Sinestro when we see him in Lanterns, or Lobo in Supergirl, or what now sounds like the American government establishment in Man of Tomorrow, and probably also the Joker, wherever he's revealed. That's as it should be. It's the reason why Loki was like the best villain for a lot of us in the MCU. And it also seems like what Ultron is going to be by the time we're done watching Vision Quest. So Man of Tomorrow, coming July 9th, 2027. And the fact that it's not going to be headed to Darkseid just made me even more excited for it. Also, James Gunn confirmed based off my question that Planet Salvation is not just in the cosmos of the main DCU, but rather it is in another dimension. He also did hint that Ultraman could show up there. And then you may have heard that Mr. Miracle script that James Gunn talked about reading.
So that's what the other thing. When I seen, when Lex said, we could use this later, the pocket universe of the universe has a black hole in it. It wouldn't surprise me if that version of that was Ultraman and Superman comes back to be Bizarro. It would not surprise me because I know that will be a deep cut that they set up. I believe that was a setup from Superman from the beginning, but I could be wrong. What's up, Mark Grissom? I could be wrong, but I would love for Bizarro to show up in a DC live action movie product. I think that would be, because we got kind of that, but in like Superman 3, but that wasn't really, that was like, I don't know what that was. I just know my man was drinking, he was tired, and he wasn't saving nobody. That's all I knew.
Was from Tom King's script for the upcoming animated series that was announced last June. Originally, Mr. Miracle is a new god, the son of Highfather, who was the ruler of New Genesis, and then Mr. Miracle, aka Scott Free, ends up having to grow up as a ward on the planet Apocalypse as part of a deal with Darkseid, who traded his son Orion to New Genesis. Scott Free grows up in Granny Goodness's orphanage with no knowledge of his heritage, and there he meets Big Barda, one of Darkseid's female Furies, and he plans to rebel against Darkseid. But Tom King and Mitch Gerads rebooted this comic in 2017. It ran for 12 issues and reimagined Scott Free as kind of a Jesus Christ analog or an escape artist who quote, perpetually felt trapped in his childhood nightmare. So that's going to be the animated series that James Gunn was reading the script of, and that seems to be where James Gunn plans to really explore the new gods mythology. Now, James Gunn also indicated that the reason he isn't eager to do these big showy panels at Comic-Con is kind of an economical reason. He doesn't always want to spend the money that's required to do that, and he kind of feels like he could better spend his time writing stuff. So Lanterns is the next DC Studios title, and it's coming to HBO at some point in early 2026. Kyle Chandler plays Hal Jordan, Aaron Pierre plays John Stewart, and Nathan Fillion will return as Guy Gardner. Kelly McDonald will be joining the cast as Small Town Sheriff, and then Ulrich Thompson will play the Green Lantern villain Sinestro. But a lot of great people are going to be in this cast.
Sinestro is coming. Wait a minute. I didn't know that. Hold up. I know I got to go in super fast, but I did not know Sinestro was going to be in Lanterns.
always want to spend the money that's required to do that, and he kind of feels like he could better spend his time writing stuff. So Lanterns is the next DC Studios title, and it's coming to HBO at some point in early 2026. Kyle Chandler plays Hal Jordan, Aaron Pierre plays Jon Stewart, and Nathan Fillion will return as Guy Gardner. Kelly MacDonald will be joining the cast as a small-town sheriff, and then Ulrich Thompson will play the Green Lantern villain Sinestro. But a lot of great people are going to be in this cast, and based on a crew hat that leaked, there is some speculating that the Center, which is an evil sentient island, could be a villain on this show. Since Lost producer Damon Lindelof is the creator of this series, the guy has some familiarity with Magic Islands, but really structurally, this feels like it's going to be a small-town cosmic mystery that the Green Lantern Corps are investigating. And while it may or may not focus on the government versus metahumans
Marcus,
plotline as working towards Man of Tomorrow, James Gunn has said that Lanterns will be setting up other things. Supergirl is the next DC Studios movie. It's coming to theaters on June 26, 2026, directed by Craig Gillespie and written by Anna Nogueira. Millie Alcock will be returning as Superman's cousin, Kara Zor-El, along with Crypto. James Gunn has described it as a similar cosmic adventure to his Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and I'm assuming similar to that film, it sounds like most of it will take place off of Earth. Tom King is actually another comic reference point for James Gunn here. Really, it was his 2021-2022 Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow run that Nogueira pulled a lot of the story from. Clayface is coming September 11th, 2026. The Gotham City that's getting established in the Liverpool set area is filled with newspapers and graffiti that reference things like the Joker cult and the Flying Graysons. There's also a subway map that shows all the established geography of Gotham City in the DCU, including Wayne Manor getting its own train stop. So
we're getting that Superman soon. I believe Superman. I believe we're getting our Batman soon. And this is I'm just speculating. I'm not putting any stock to this. I'm not getting my hopes up or anything. This is just a theory. I can see them introducing that Superman by the end of this series. My personal opinion.
It's really everything we've learned about James Gunn's upcoming plan for the DC universe. Still, no news yet on who the Batman of this universe is going to be, but James Gunn has said that pretty much everyone wants to play this character. He did start following Aaron Taylor Johnson on social media. Who knows what that means? Big thanks to James Gunn and everyone who set up this interview, and of course, a big thanks to Ryan and Heather for also asking some great questions.
Aaron Taylor Johnson, could that be the next Batman? I don't know. I don't know who's writing. Is he writing the Batman? Or not the Batman, but is he doing Batman Brave and the Bold? Is he writing that? I'm not for sure if he said he was writing that or not, but I don't know. Not Henry Cavill for Batman. Hey, what surprise? Honestly, I've always said this when they had that scene, which I love Ben Affleck's Batman and his Bruce Wayne. But it was, let's be honest, this is just my personal opinion. Henry Cavill looks just as much of a Bruce Wayne type of character as Ben Affleck did. And I want Alan Richards. If I want to pick anybody, yeah, that's who I want too. He'd be a big-ass Batman. Sorry, Miss Roberta. But, you know what I mean? I just could see him as I can see him as a Batman too. That's just my personal opinion. When I watched what was that? Batman v Superman? Was it Batman v Superman? Yeah. And you had or was that? Yeah, that was Batman v Superman. That's just how much I didn't really care for that movie. But there was that scene where they were Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent walked in and they were talking. I was like, this most definitely reminds me of, Batman and Superman in the animated series. You know what I mean? Because they drew them and kind of made them look similar or whatever. So I don't know. I think that they would be awesome. You think he's too big? He would be an awesome Bane? Nah. If he's more like the the Dark Knight version, he was big as, oh my God, you can't. But yeah, I do feel you can't be that big and be a ninja. You know what I mean? But he was an older Batman then too, so I don't know. I don't know. What do you got? Honestly, what do you guys think? I'm going to take one more commercial break. We're going to have a conversation, and I'll be right back with more of the Dre Mack Show. That's what I meant. I said the Dark Knight, but I meant the Dark Knight Returns. Looking at the cover of him jumping through the air with that arm out, he was way too big to be jumping like that. but yeah, I mean, like I said, personally, I would personally like to see what this new Batman is going to be about anyway. We got a tease technically in Creature Commandos, so it's just nailing down the actor. Would y'all even like Aaron Taylor Johnson? Does he look like a Bruce Wayne Batman to y'all? I can't get what he did with Craven out my head. I'm not gonna lie, Craven sucked. It ain't his fault though. That was not his fault, but man, that sucked. I mean, it's not as bad as Madam Web, but it wasn't fun either. Based on his look, I mean, he has a pretty boy look and stuff like that. I can see him, as a Bruce Wayne, an aristocrat. I'm just so, I would love, this is just me personally. Y'all can put it in the, you can put it in the chat too, what you guys think. But personally, I would want a Batman that's based off the animated series, but the movie Mask of the Phantasm, when he first became Batman. The Mask of the Phantasm version of Batman and Joker is the best Batman and Joker I've ever encountered. And Mario Fate Warrior, what's up? And I personally think that if they do anything, adapt that Batman animated series, the Mask of the Phantasm version, because you dealt with why, the thing of him basically with his parents and him kind of being alone and maybe having to deal with, with trying to leave the Batman life alone to start a new life with a woman and stuff, and having that conflict. That conflict in Mask of the Phantasm is the best live action Batman Bruce Wayne conflict. You can see the duality. Brother Juma, tell him to get it on there. Tell him to do it. If you haven't seen Mask of the Phantasm, you are missing out on the best Batman film of all time. To me, that's the best Batman film of all times. Argue with your mama. Argue with your mammy. That's the best Batman film of all time, period. You know what I mean? So if they adapt that, I'm talking about winner, chicken dinner on your hand. That's just my personal opinion. But what do you guys think, man? Tell me in the chat or in the comment section what you guys think, because I really want to hear from you guys and see what you guys think about, if they do adapt the Batman. What do you, who would you like, or what storyline or what version would you like? And also the James Gunn news, the Warner Brothers up for sale, him reaching out to YouTubers to do a Zoom call. What do y'all think about that, man? Make sure to put it in the comment section below and let me know what's up.
Yo, the sign is real simple, B. It says wrap it up. Wrap that shit up, B.
All right, you already know the wrap it up box. Yeah, Puma Lee, man, it is so. You said you prefer oh yeah, I thought it for some reason I missed the T. And I thought that said mop. I'm like, what's mop? Oh, never mind. I'm stupid. Yeah, Mask of the Phantasm is awesome. So I most definitely would say, if anybody has ever seen, if you want to see a good Batman story, Mask of the Phantasm is the best. Period. Mask of the Phantasm is the best Batman story ever. You said you watched the Boba Talk Gunn interview. A certain group are saying he's cooked after the buyout. Mark, we've talked about that on the channel. This is and I'm gonna say this because I know this is your first time being live. everybody keeps talking about James Gunn and nobody's talking about Peter Safran, and they were brought in together to run DC Studios. To me, that should be the automatic red flag to anybody that is looking at, well, what is James Gunn doing? Why is James Gunn there? Is he going to be a part of the buyout? Yada, yada, yada. What's going to happen with DC Studios? Is he already out? Why aren't they saying Peter Safran is out also? That's the biggest clue. And it just reminds me of everybody who was down in James Gunn when he first got announced, and the Snyder cult was going at it. I got to call a duck a duck. So, I'm not saying that couldn't be a possibility, because that'd be kind of disingenuous, because I'm not Nostradamus. I don't know the future. Hell, sometimes I don't even know what I'm going to eat tomorrow or today or maybe in 10 minutes. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. But any of the information that I've read has no credible source. And what I mean by that, none of the trades, TMZ, nope, TMZ don't know. TMZ knows everything. Hell, I was on there for 2 years. You know what I mean? So it's just, it's weird to me that they don't mention Safran along with Gunn. That's the only thing that's giving me pause, and no other reputable sources, the trades or anything, has came out and said James Gunn is done. That's the only thing. So that's why I'm giving pause for the cause on that. But thank you for the question though. Yeah, DC animation was amazing. Erica D, aka She Loves Fantasy, with the 1999 super chat. I really appreciate it. I don't want any studio in the wrong hands. AT&T abused Time Warner, now a respectable company out here valuating their assets like a $2 hoe, and these Fortune 500 streets. Disgraceful. Oh my God, did you pop? Oh man, shoot the gun up. Erica D out here.
Gang bang. Gang bang.
You are truly amazing. Thank you for your super chat.
Gang bang. Gang bang.
All right. Thank you so very much for the super chat. I mean, you out here gang banging out here in these streets, being would you like a lap dance? All I got is, you got a little money on you. I'll take $2. That's all you got. Come on, I'll give you a little something. Like I said, I just don't want it going into the hands of the Ellison Company because of what's going on politically in the government right now. They're been appointed by President Trump. Because again, you get CNN, you got CBS, MSNBC is next. You know what I mean? They're and like I said, independent political avenues are going to be lost under this regime if somebody doesn't, fight back against this. So I'm just saying, I'm all about not just left and right. I'm about journalism, real telling the truth. I know it's been a long time since journalism actually told the truth. There's certain places that tell the truth when it comes to journalism. You understand? But we don't need, if blatantly you're not going to tell the truth. I don't need that. You know what I'm saying? Nope. I don't want that. All right. I'm going to read these comments and I'm going to get you guys out of here. If they could give Robert Pattinson a shot as Batman, who is a great actor, I'm opening Aaron Taylor Johnson. Robert Pattinson, again, I don't like his Bruce Wayne. His Bruce Wayne is too introvert, too gothic, too Count Dracula. You know what I'm saying? For me, and not Bruce Wayne. That's why I said Master of the Phantasm. Because I liked Robert Pattinson's Batman. I did like his Batman more than I did because he was a younger Batman. He was just now becoming Batman. But Master of the Phantasm gave the blueprint on a newer Batman, a younger Batman, being about I think he's year 3 in Master of the Phantasm or whatever. And he's doing all the detective work. He's being emotional. He's talking about his man. That movie is just good. Go watch it. Go watch after you get off of here. Go watch it. Kevin Conroy is the best Batman ever. Yes, I agree 1,000%. And then after that, I'm going to give I'm gonna give the props to Michael Keaton's Batman, and because nobody expected him to be a good Batman. Even when he was announced, he got more hate back then in the 80s than Robert Pattinson did. You know, people sending in letters was like, why is Mr. Mom about to be Batman? That's not my Batman. And then he's ended up being one of the greatest Batman of all time. I wish we had T'Challa like that, though. I mean, I wish we had multiple T'Challa. Like, oh, man, so-and-so was a great T'Challa. But that's another, another spot for another day. Let me see. All right. So let me see. I'm just trying to get these up. Val was a good Bruce Wayne. Oh, wait a minute. I missed the it just moved. Yeah. They moved quick. Live action Val Kilmer was the best Bruce Wayne. Ben Affleck was a very good Bruce Wayne. Val Kilmer was, yeah, I will give you that. It's just the animated series just gave so much gravitas to that. And yes, that was Mark Hamill. If Mark Hamill is still, I cannot unhear the Joker voice. Yeah, I mean, of course, other people have been playing the Joker now, but man, Mark Hamill is that guy though. Is that guy? He made it iconic. That's why his Skeletor was a little off-putting in Masters of the Universe, the television series that came out in on Netflix. It's because you hear it. You can't. He didn't distinguish his Joker voice from Skeletor. I mean, hell, I would have been like, you bumbling doofus. Until next time, man. All right, man. Let me get you guys out of here. Again, what did you think about the story about Warner Brothers, putting themselves up for sale, like Erica D said, like a $2 whore? Or, or the conversation with the ideas and the future of these projects under James Gunn? Put it in the comment section below and let me know what you guys think. Again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell notification so you never, ever miss one of my videos again. Until next time, I'll holler at you guys later. Peace and vibe, y'all. I gotta take a nap, man. I'm sleepy. Where is my outro at? Because you already know, if you've been here long enough, I gotta go. Wait a minute. You're telling me the video's over? What? Okay, I guess so. If you have came to this portion of the video, thank you so very much for sticking to the end. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that little bell notification so you never miss one of my videos. And if you really want to, you don't got to, go ahead and follow the social media links that's down below. Until next time, I'll let you guys later. Peace and vibe higher, y'all. Y'all take care of yourself.